Good morning, gents. I hope you're well. Sorry, I'm still not there again today. Not feeling the best again. Hopefully, I'm really trying to get back for your next lesson. Today, guys, we're working on time. It's a new topic area for us. It's only a couple of lessons long. Realistically, we could probably get it done with today and on Thursday. Today, we were working with time conversions, okay, and then we'll work through time and time zones on Thursday. If you'll notice on our OneNote, gents, that I have started this new chapter called time. The textbook is in there, the answers are in there, and then today's lesson you can see clearly. You may see this AMC folder that's appeared, and you may have seen there's an announcement on the course page for all honours classes are expected to complete the AMC Maths Challenge. That will be, I think I put on here, so Miss Cho, I think it's on the 4th of August. It's on Thursday, 4th of August when you get back. Yeah, it's on right there, week 3. And I've put on some past paper questions from 19 and 21, or 20 as well. There you go. So the last 3 years worth of kind of questions that you can look at. Again, it's a challenge day. It doesn't go towards anything particularly, but certainly the expectation is that you will complete that challenge, and hopefully you might get a certificate, or you might get a distinction or credit, whatever it might be. So it's worthy doing. But I digress. Today, gents, we're looking at time. So there are 3 things that I really want to get out of today's lesson. Again, when you're going through this in class, gents, if you are watching this in class, it is a good idea to make some notes as we're going through, and that might be writing some of the things down that you can see on the screen. The first thing I wanted to address is days in a month. Now, most of you will probably be pretty familiar with how many days there are in each month, but of course, remembering that depending on which month it is, there might be a different amount of days. So, for example, if you think about that little rhyme, what is it? 30 days, half September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. So we've got January, we got February, we've got March, we have April, we have May, we have June, we have July, we have August, September, October, we have November and December. So there are 12 months, right? So again, I'm going to go through that little rhyme, and most of you should be familiar with that rhyme. 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. Okay, so again, 30 days hath September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, which has 28 days on a normal year and 29 on a leap year. So I'm going to fill the rest of those days with 31 days. So it is an expectation, guys, that we do know the number of days in each month. So if you don't know that rhyme, it might be a good idea to look that rhyme up and maybe even write the rhyme down. 30 days hath September, or have September, April, June, and November. All the rest are 31. Okay, except for February. Okay, time conversions. So that's the first thing. The second thing is time conversions, and there's quite a bit to go through with time conversions. So when we talk about converting time, we're talking about going from knowing how many seconds there are in 1 minute, how many minutes there are in an hour, how many hours in a day, how many days in a week, how many weeks in a year. So there's a lot there, but certainly you should know most of these. So hopefully you know there are 60 seconds equals 1 minute. We should know 60 minutes equals 1 hour. We have 24 hours. No, I said 60 then. 24 hours equals 1 day. We have 7 days equals 1 week. We have 52 weeks equals 1 year. And I'm going to put a little asterisk there. And we have 12 months equals 1 year. I might even put on here that 2 weeks equals 1 fortnight, not the game. And of course, if there are 2 weeks in 1 fortnight, we could even say there are 26 fortnights in 1 year. Okay. Now, the reason I put an asterisk on the 52 weeks equals 1 year is that there are not exactly 52 weeks in 1 year. It's an approximation that we use mostly in mathematics. In the finance sector, we actually say there's approximately, that's what that little sign means, equal sign, approximately 52.18 weeks in 1 year. And some mathematicians will still use 52.18 for being weeks in a year, but certainly for the most part, gents, we'll only use 52 weeks in a year. So there's a fair few time conversions here. We're expected to know all of those. I no doubt think most of you should know them, but if there are some of those time conversions there that are a little bit unfamiliar to you, it would be worth a while to record those down and to revise those. Okay, because the expectation is that you do know those conversions. And the last one, of course, is looking at 12-hour time versus 24-hour time. So like the previous one, most of you should be aware of your time conversions. Some of you might find it really tough and some of you might find it really easy. That's okay. Now, remember things like 12-hour time, we break it up into AM versus PM, right? And so we can say things like 6:15 AM, and we can say things like 6:15 PM. Now, the obvious problems with 12-hour time is if you don't put the AM and the PM there, you could have 2 times that are the same. But technically speaking, they're going to be 12 hours apart, right? So which one is it? Is it 6:15 in the morning or is it 6:15 at night? So you have to have this AM and PM attached to those numbers for 12 hours, excuse me. Now, 24-hour time, we would generally say something like this, 06:15. But you can get away with putting 6:15, okay? And then the other one, do you know what 6:15 AM is it, or PM should I say, is it 24-hour time? Well, just add 12 hours, we get 18:15, sorry. Now remember, thinking about from 6:15 AM to 16:15 PM, there's always a 12-hour time difference. So you can see really quickly to go from your, I guess, 24-hour time to 12-hour time, and you know it's like PM, you can subtract 12, or if you know it's PM, you can add 12, and it works out really nicely. But again, most of you will simply learn it by rote, okay? And I'm going to show you what it might look like. Okay, let me just get that down. Perfect. So we obviously have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, if this is all AM, I should have put it as an AM at the top there to make this much easier. Okay, AM, 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 AM. What happens at 12? Yes, you should be correct. It goes to PM. Okay, so all of these are just the same, right? So 0, 100, 0, 200. And that's where if you're in cadets next year, we'll call it like 400 hours or 0, 400 hours. Okay, makes more sense. That's just going to be your AM timing. I'm not going to do all those because it's getting boring. Okay, but 12 PM is the same thing, right? 1200 hours. Now, once you get across into the PMs, okay, apart from 12, okay, so we go to 1 PM, 2 PM, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then, of course, it goes to 12 AM. Again, I'm not going to bother putting on the PMs there. We literally, in 24-hour time, we just keep going up, right? So if you're at 12 PM is 1200 hours, then 1 PM is 1300 hours. 2 p.m. is 1400 hours. Then we get 1500, 1600, 1700, 1800, 1900, 2000, 2100, 2200, 2300. Now, the next one would either be 2400 or 0 hours. Okay, and that can mean the same thing, 12 a.m., 2400 hours or 0. We don't really go to 24, I'll be honest. We usually just go back to 0. Okay, and as I said to you, for my liking, it's pretty easy because if you know it's 1 a.m. in the morning and you know you want to go to 1 p.m., well, you just simply add 12 hours and that gets you 13. Likewise, if I'm at 8 p.m., okay, 8 plus 12 is 20. So if I get 2300 hours, for example, well, 23 take away 12 is going to be 11. And so it's very easy just to add the 2 at 12 hours to go from 12-hour time to 24, or subtract the 12 to go from 24 to 12. Hopefully that makes a bit of sense. But again, these are things that you probably already know. If you don't, you just got to practice them. All right, finishing us off now, we're going to do some quick questions. Again, feel free to pause this if you're on your own or at home. Otherwise, just listen and we'll go through it pretty quickly. Okay, apologies for my dog there in the background. Okay, convert the following 3 hours to minutes. Now, like anything, gents, I would like you to make sure you have working. So we know that there are 1 hour equals 60 minutes, right? So to go from 3 hours to 60 minutes, we simply are going to be timesing it by 60. Now that makes sense because we know that you have to have more minutes than hours, right? Often you know there's 60 and you're not sure which way to go, times or divide. But of course, I'm going to have more minutes than I am going to have hours. So 3 times 60 equals 180. So I get 180 minutes and that works out well. Now, the next one, I've got 150 seconds to minutes. So if I'm going from 150 seconds to minutes, I'm going to simply do the opposite of that, which is times, or sorry, divide. So I'm going to go my calculator out. Now, again, gents, you probably don't need your calculator, I'll be honest, but I'm just going to show you how the answer will look. We're going to do 150. We're going to divide that by 60, okay, and we get 2.5. So we get 2.5 minutes. Okay. Now that makes sense, right? Because you know that there are 60 minutes or 60 seconds in 1 minute, right? So 60 seconds is 1 minute, 60 seconds is 2 minutes, that's 120, and 30 seconds is half a minute. And you can see quite clearly there that it's 2.5 minutes. But again, you can do it pretty quick in your calculator as well. 2 days to weeks. Okay, this is an interesting one. 2 days, 2 weeks. Well, we know there are 7 days in 1 week, right? So the unfortunate thing is, of course, we're going to have, we have less than, all right, let's say we had 15 days or 14 days. 14 days makes sense, right? 14 days we know is 2 weeks because 14 divided by 7 is 2. I'm going to do the same thing, but here I've got 2 days. I'm going to do 2 divided by 7. And it's simply going to be a fraction. Now, of course, you could do it on your calculator. You could do it pen and paper if you wanted a decimal. Okay, and you can see the decimal isn't very nice. But certainly, if I wanted to convert 2 days to weeks, then a fraction is certainly appropriate. Okay, now that's where a lot of people would say, oh, I'm going to times it by 7. But then you get 14 and 2 days wouldn't be 14 weeks, right? So it wouldn't make sense. So it's really important to think about your answer. Does it sound right? The next one is 2 years, 2 weeks. Well, we know that 1 year is 52 weeks. So 2 years is twice that. We get 104 weeks. Again, if you're not sure, do both and then see which is more appropriate. 1 week to hours. Well, we know that in 1 week, should I say in 1 day, we have 24 hours, right? And in 1 week, we have 7 days. So let's times the weeks to days. So we have 7 days in a week, and we have 24 hours in a day. And now I can simply do my calculator, 7 times 24, or you can do it algorithm style. We get 168 hours. Okay. And the second or the last one for example 1, we're going to go from 1 week to 2 seconds. Well, we already know that there are 168 hours in 1 week. So I'm going to times that by 60 to get into minutes. I'm going to times it by 60 again to get into seconds. So times by 60. Now you could times it by 3,600 if you really wanted to. That's what 60 times 60 is. We get 604,800 seconds in 1 entire week. Now, of course, if you're doing that by scratch, it would look like 7 days in a week, 24 hours in a day, 60 minutes in an hour, and 60 seconds. Okay, and so that would look at like the total kind of working out if you're doing it by scratch. Okie dokie. I'm just going to minimize a little bit so you can see my calculator at the same time. All right, convert 3 hours and 12 minutes to hours only. Okay, well, a couple of ways we could do this. We know that 3 hours, well, that's already in hours, right? And I'm going to add in, how do you get 12 minutes in terms of an hour? Well, if I divide that by 60, okay, then I can add those two amounts together. Now, this is without the use of a calculator. Okay. So you're going to be having this sort of fraction, I guess. Now, if you look at this fraction, okay, a couple of ways you could do it. You could divide them both by 12 because 12 goes into 12 once and 12 goes into 60 5 times. 12 5s are 60. And then 1/5 we know, well, you can just write like that. Equals 3 1/5 hours would be appropriate. Or what's 1/5 in terms of decimal? 3.2 hours. Because 1/5 is 0.2 or 20%. Now on a calculator, we can simply do the same thing. We can just do 12 divided by 60. That should give me my 0.2. I go plus my 3. I get my answer, 3.2. All right, the next one, 2.8. Well, we know that 2 hours is simply 2 hours plus 0.8 hours. Well, let's times that by 60. I'm going to do it on a calculator. Excuse me. We get 48. That equals 2 plus 48 minutes. So equals 2 hours and 48 minutes. So basically, if you're going from minutes to hours, we know that we are dividing, okay, which is that 12 divided by 60, and hours to minutes, okay, we are multiplying by 60. Again, most of you will know this pretty well. And the last two, what time is 23:15 and 12-hour time? Well, let's just subtract 12. We get 11:15 a.m. Perfect. It's also near 12 a.m. And then what time is 4:45 and 24? Well, let's just add 12 hours. We get 16:45. Perfect. Gentlemen, that is time for today. Hopefully you understand that. I'd ask you to exercise 7A, get through as many of these questions as you can. What I might say for our questions to do, let's do question 2. Let's do question 4. Let's do 5. Let's do middle column. We'll do question 6. We'll do last column. We'll do question 9. I'm going to talk at DMS later on, so we won't do DMS today. And we'll do question 8. And then one last one. Question 16, because it says without the use of the DMS function. I don't want to do that today. We'll do that on Thursday. Gents, have a wonderful day. I'll write those questions down for you, and hopefully I will see you all on Thursday. Wonderful day.